Well, welcome back, everybody, and welcome to another segment of the Conspiracy Keepers. My name is Backlash LaRue. I'm sitting here with Joe Monaco and Scooter McGee. Gentlemen, we touched on a lot of issues before we went on the first break, getting people
Yes,
up
we
to
did.
speed on who you two are and how you came about with the Conspiracy Keepers. And we were going to touch into numerology, but I believe Scooter wanted to touch on the host of what we were talking about on what you said about the pandemic.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't I wanted to touch on it, but now after advice from counsel, I'm supposed to plead the fifth year. I'm just trying to find out, how in the flying flock of seagulls did we get from a bat in a wet market in Wuhan to America and the world gone crazy, snitching on each other, and this wussification of a society and wearing your mask? Because if we just can't all be 100% safe, then we just really should just stay at home and be scared. What the hell happened?
Well,
what the hell happened, Joe?
I think if we can prove that this has been planned for a long time, and this is not happening organically, like as we go through time, and it just kind of happens and people react to it. No, that didn't happen. I think if we can show you that this has been in the works for a long time by the people that control this world system, it'll make more sense. Which brings us to something we're going to... Go ahead.
In all fairness, Joe, we'll talk more and more about the numerology and how they mark using symbols, and they mark their territory right in public, and people don't pay attention. I was thinking about the bit we were doing with the dollar bill. And the first conversation, how do we guys start talking sitting at the bar? Most people don't even know there's an owl in the little upper right-hand corner on the collar hiding.
Yeah.
And that can often spur a conversation that leads to the Vatican and hiding the Nazis and the National Geographic Society hiding the truth of the ancient aliens and ancient ancestors, whatever have you. But the numerology and the marking territory, people say now the Illuminati's a joke. You couldn't say the Illuminati, you were off the air because you were a nut.
Right.
But like the Illuminati card game we've referenced in previous episodes, there is a pandemic card in the Illuminati card game. Yeah. Nobody ever played it before.
Yeah.
Or tried to play it. I don't know whether they tried to or not. H1N1s. Because again, H1N1 comes out and President of the time, Obama, is in Mexico where it came from.
Yeah.
He's ground zero. Now Trump goes anywhere and sneezes, he's a super spreader. It makes no sense.
Yeah, none of it makes any sense, once again, if this is happening organically. But if it's planned, and this is part of the plan to bring down the world as we know it and establish a new one world government, then everything makes sense all of a sudden as to what they're doing.
Where was the evidence this was planned? Because I sure missed it. I missed that demo.
Well, see, a lot of the things that they do doesn't make any sense. They have to warn us beforehand. Okay, that's part of the occult. The occult means something hidden. And it's also tied to spiritism and all that kind of stuff, which all these people are into that control this world system. So they have something that we call predictive programming. In other words, they get us primed for what's going to happen by telling us what they're going to do before they do it. Now, that's one of the rules of the occult. They can't just do whatever they want to whenever they want to. They have to tell you beforehand, and that's what makes their spells work. If they don't do it, it's not going to work.
I agree with you, Joe. A classic example is 9/11. There were all kinds of
all over the place
media leading up to it. Where were the symbols hidden about not necessarily COVID, but where were all the symbols with this pandemic that I missed?
I want to start one with a movie called The Dead Zone. And for all of you that don't know what that is, look it up. It's on YouTube. Okay, it was from 2003. And they actually spelled out everything that they were going to do. They even used the word coronavirus. We had people wearing masks in this movie. They did everything that they've done in this day, way back in 2003 in this movie. So that's predictive programming. They're telling us what they're going to do, and then they do it. Now, that's just one of them. We had a lot of movies. We had one with Tom Hanks called The Terminal. And if you see that, Tom Hanks is in there. He's in an airport. And then the guy says, America has been shut down. He can't go anyplace. He's in the airport. And then you see people looking like they're Asian, maybe from, you know, the Far East, walking behind him. They all have masks on. So, okay, they're telling you again. They just gave you a hint as to what they're going to do.
Tom Hanks' country failed, and he didn't have a country to fly home to, so they couldn't let him go because they couldn't process his paperwork.
Yeah, because America was shut down. That's what they told him. America shut down.
I gotta rewatch that movie.
The Rockefeller Foundation. They have. You can look this up too. I mean, YouTube hasn't pulled this yet. They kind of allow some things on, but they don't allow. You know, they're pulling more and more things down. Scenarios for the future of technology and international development, the Rockefeller Foundation. They told us about the pandemic. They told us about wearing masks during this whole thing. They talked about the curfews. They talked about everything. And this was back from 2009. So this has been going on a long time. They knew this was coming up. They've planned this for a long time, for at least since 2003, but probably, you know, before that. So once again, they're telling you what they're going to do before they do it. And we talked about the Illuminati card game. There's all kinds of predictive programming in that. This game was made back in 1995, 1996, in that era, by Stephen Jackson, who is not a real person. You know, they just kind of put that name out there. But he, you know, the globalists have put that out there. I call them globalists. They're the ones that are establishing the one world government. What's that?
What movie was that?
No, we're talking the Illuminati card game. That's yeah. They've done all kinds of things with that, with 9/11, this, you know, pandemic and all this kind of stuff. So that's another thing that we're going to refer to.
It's like the way I describe it when people don't know what it is. I go, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons for conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, just put if you want to know, if you want to look at the cards for that, just put in the Illuminati card game and then press images on your Google search, and you'll see all the cards pop up, and you'll see, once again, this was done in 1995. You'll see them predicting 9/11. They have a fire on the Twin Towers, a fire in the Pentagon. So they're telling you what they're going to do. And once again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's all over the place. They always let you know well in advance what they're going to do.
So you're saying they have to do it that way? Is it
right?
A handbook for these people that they've got to? Okay, before we do this, we got to show our cards somewhat. I mean,
okay.
How is it that it has to be done this way?
Okay, so in the occult, they have like occult teachings, rather so it's a big study and it's a big science in and of itself. So all the people that are controlling this world system are into the occult and spiritism. And they have their own rules.
And Joe, you're talking the world of
Aleister Crowley, Anton LaVey, yeah, all those people, right? And the Babylonian Talmud. That's an ancient book that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. So a lot of rules are in that book too, and it's all occult teachings. It's all Luciferian in nature, and in those books they will tell you that you have to tell people what you're going to do before you do it, or else the spell won't work. Okay. Basically, everything that they do is called a spell. Now, let me tell you what a spell is. It's not like Bewitched, where you wiggle your nose and they cast a spell. A spell is basically just hypnosis, and hypnosis is done with stage hypnotists. All it does is it lowers your critical thinking and heightens your suggestibility. Okay, that's what we're calling a spell, and they're masters at doing that. They turn off your critical thinking, and you're receptive to what they're doing.
The broadcasters are talking with this very effeminate voice, male and female, to just calm everybody down, because we're going to all in this together. We just need to move forward.
Yeah.
We're entering dark times. And is that
repetition?
What is nonsense now on the air, where it's just we go with the flow because we don't want to have Antifa banging on our door?
Yeah, it's repetition. Your brain, if you really study the human brain and the way the mind works, it doesn't work on logic. It works on repetition. So the more you hear things, the more your brain will accept it as truth, because your critical thinking, that takes kind of work. People don't like to do that. If they hear things time and time and time again, they just assume that that's true. So that's why you hear these things over and over and over again. Rock musicians know how it works. Broadcasters up at the top of the pyramid know how this works. They're going to keep telling you the same thing over and over again, and eventually you will accept it as true, even if it's the most blatant lie out there.
Well, we'll continue a little bit more and hope you get into a little bit more critical thinking on the conspiracies with the conspiracy keepers. My name's Backlash. We'll be back in just a minute with more of Joe and Scooter.